Hello and welcome to SFA Now. Today we will discuss the PRSSA meeting, the Disability Symposium, and much more. So stay tuned. Welcome to SFA Now. I'm Alex Bellini.
And I'm Kaylee Masters.
This Wednesday, the Public Relations Student Society of America held a special event in room 209 of the Boyant Building. The PRSSA is an organization for students interested in public relations and communications. PRSSA seeks to advance the public relations profession by specially educating generations of future professionals. After the leaders of the PRSSA spoke on club business, the Society welcomed Grammy Award-winning record and brand marketing executive Amir Wyndham. Mr. Wyndham is currently an executive vice president with Atlantic Records and has worked with Sony Pictures Entertainment, ESPN, and NBC Universal Television. Mr. Wyndham talked about his experience in the music industry, working with platinum-selling recording artists including Pharrell, Kanye West, Madonna, T.I., and Bruno Mars. He has also touched on a variety of other topics, such as finding himself and working his way through the industry, and used these experiences to try to better the perspective of the public relations students.
In light of Stephen F. Austin's Diversity Week, the Office of Disability Services and Multicultural Affairs held a symposium on April 1st in the Baker Patillo Student Center, which focused on conversations about practicing inclusion. The panel consisted of an array of faculty, staff, and students who shared their meaning behind inclusion. Faculty members answered questions in regards to their challenges with inclusion and also their victories. Students heard examples on how they could practice inclusion with those who are disabled, as well as educate others on the importance on including everyone, whether able-bodied or not. Very specific scenarios were given and then open for discussion. Students were also able to share their views on inclusion and the challenges they have faced throughout college. Faculty and staff agreed throughout the symposium that overall inclusion for those with disabilities has improved greatly through the years. Most of the faculty also agreed that there are still many things that need to be improved upon. For more information what SFA is doing to practice inclusion, contact the Office of Disability Service at 936-468-3004.
Stephen F. Austin began the first full week of spring football practices last week, going through a 21-period practice session on the grass practice fields behind the SFA Fieldhouse. The Jacks took their practice to the fields again on Wednesday, April 2nd. The main goal for the team right now is to learn and install the new schemes that new head coach Clint Conkay wants to put into place. The team hit the field preparing their second team scrimmage that is taking place this Saturday, April 5th. The Jacks will be practicing at the Lufkin High School facilities starting at 4 p.m. The team will go through stretches and positional drills before the scrimmage actually begins. This will mark the final full contact scrimmage before the 2014 spring game. This is scheduled for April 12th at 6:30 p.m. at the Homer Bryce Stadium. Students and the community are more than welcome to go out and watch the April 12th and see what the Lumberjacks are going to bring to the Southland Conference next fall.
On April 2nd, the Office of Multicultural Affairs welcomed Grammy Award-winning record and brand marketing executive Mr. Amir Wyndham. Currently, he is the Executive Vice President with Atlantic Records. Mr. Wyndham talks about experiences and informs SFA students about the music industry today. This is a hip-hop summit that Mr. Wyndham wanted to make interactive for the students because hip-hop is quite a force in this generation. The SFA students that attended are interested in the music industry in some aspect. He believes talent is something that you are born with, but also something that you can cultivate. He encouraged them that every piece of music they create should be a representation of who you are as an artist. Danielle Glisper is an inspiring artist that came out to the summit to gain tips on getting ahead in the industry.
I pursue to try to get into the music industry, any tips or anything so I can get ahead from anyone else. Anything that would be encouraging for anyone that's trying to do their own thing. Some tips on being an entrepreneur, just stuff like that.
Hip-hop artists struggle from a business standpoint because they are not appealing to people that purchase music. People's mindsets are accustomed to downloading free music. They will spend $100 on shoes, but when it comes to music, they simply won't buy it. He also talks about how artists like Bruno Mars appeal to working people. After T.I. became a reality star, he talks about how grandmothers now want to buy his music, so you have to appeal to the right audiences. As young, inspiring artists, you should also set standards. There comes a point in which you have to put limit on giving away music. One student was curious on what he thinks she should do. She was once told that she doesn't have the look, but doesn't want to conform to what the world's image of a woman is. His advice was to find balance between sexy and tasteful. According to the SFA students, he gave some great advice that are ready to take upon the world by working hard to develop their sound and focusing on who they are as an artist.
Azaway provides help to the city of Nacogdoches as they assist in helping children find homes as well as opening the doors for opportunity for the people in need. Here's Rolando with the inside of Azaway's Children's Services.
I'm Liana Berry, and I'm the regional director here for here at Azaway. We actually cover 16 counties in Region 5, and so we have homes that are spread out throughout the region, foster homes and adoptive homes. What we do here, we take in children who have been picked up by CPS, and we care for them and we place them in foster homes, and then our homes can either adopt them, or we can do straight adoptions where we actually have people that there's a list of children to be adopted, and then we can match them up to be adopted. It's not a hard process. We are needing adoptive parents and foster parents. There is a big need across Texas. So I would urge you, to come in and get some information, talk to me. We can sit down and talk about it. There's lots of questions I know that parents have, but we can, work through those. But I do encourage people to look into that, especially, if they're able to do so. Just one child makes a difference. So.
To learn more about the programs that Azaway offers, feel free to look at their website at www.azaway.org.
If you liked more on any stories you have heard today, be sure to check out our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/SFA Now. Also, if you know of any interesting events going on that you think would be newsworthy, please make sure to post it on our wall and share with us.
Don't go anywhere. Coming up next, we're going to tell you about how video games could affect your community, young life, and history of El Camino. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to SFA Now. Have you ever wondered if video games could actually bring violence into your home? If so, here's Joshua Halself with the story.
Throughout the years, video games have evolved into a multi-billion-dollar business, beginning with the earlier years models such as the Magnavox Odyssey in the early 70s, which helped pioneer today's generation of consoles, such as the PlayStation 4, the Nintendo Wii U, and the Microsoft Xbox One. Video games as a whole are creating new outlets of opportunities of self-expression as well as being a type of competitive sport around the world. But as a community, video games are just simply a way to pass the time or to release stress from a hard day of work or class. But in the gaming industry, one of the biggest problems or controversies that continue to be a concern is the type of game an adult or child are playing. So I asked SFA senior Timothy Darden on his opinion on what games are being played in today's generations.
Madden, NCAA, Assassin's Creed, Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty. I play a variety of games.
According to Nielsen, 65% of all households have some type of gaming console, new or old. And with that 65% brings in the question, what is my child or friend playing, and is it too violent for him or her to actually cause a problem in reality? Games like Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty are two of the most popular games of all time. But can games like this...
Where are you from?
Just be cool. Wait.
Talking to you! All right. Everything is ready.
Gear up, boys.
lead to this?
I feel like for a person to think that a game can make a person violent is immature. I think if you give the child the blessing to play a rated M game, you should also give that child the meaning of the game. Like, this is a violent game, but this is not acceptable in society. You can't go around doing these things in society. You can't shoot a random person in society. That's not, that's not normal. So I think it's fine for a parent. I think it's fine for a parent who is willing to explain the do's and don'ts, the right and wrongs to the child. And I think it's not okay for a parent to say, yes, you can play a rated M game and just let them play it and don't give them no type of talk to it.
But how can games like these cause so much drama and controversy in today's reality?
Kids and grown people are just enacting what they see. Subconsciously, we might not think that is going into our minds, but it is. We're just doing what we see. And after so long, after you play it, it just becomes like reality to you. So if they can do it, well, I can pull my gun out and shoot a prostitute right in the street too. She disrespected me. She didn't give me her money. I don't say it won't bring violence, but I think it introduces them to violence. If kids are not seeing violence in their home, but they're seeing it on a game, then they're going to imitate that game in any way they know how, because to them that is kind of like real life. Even if we keep saying, no, it's just imaginary, it's not real, but to them that's real life.
For me, I think it is no solution, because if you do it for video games, you have to do it for movies and for TV. You have to limit everything, because it's just a form of media. So just targeting video games is not going to solve the problem, because it's still TV shows and movies that just as violent as video games. So just going after video games is not going to solve everything. So for me, I really don't see no solution saying, oh, if you find something, shut down video games. I can't think of, because GameStop, other game retailers, if you buy a mature game, if they think you're underage, you have to show your ID. But if the parents buying the game, it doesn't matter. All we can do is tell them that the game has mature content. That's all we can do. So it really kind of goes back to parenting. You really can't tell the gaming company to tone it down. It's parenting. They have to take the lead.
I don't want to say ignorance on what's really on the game. Who would want their kid really to play a game about somebody jacking a car, going to a strip club, and messing with prostitutes?
If you are wanting to learn more about the violence of video games, you can go to www.ncac.org to learn more. I'm Joshua Hassel, reporting for SFA Now.
Have you ever heard of a group called Young Life? If not, here's Kaylee Masters with the story.
There's an organization across the United States that allows high school students and college students to collide. Here in Nacogdoches, Young Life is something that high school students have been looking forward to.
You just came in here. What do you mean, where are we at?
Where are we at? What is this?
This is Young Life, and we're all wearing shirts. Most of ours say it. If you could read. I don't. This is Young Life. We come here. We hang out every Monday. What do you? Don't hit the drum. Stop. You're being destructive. No, you won't do whatever you want. I don't even know. Who are you?
My name is Betsy O'Neill. I'm a junior at SFA. My major is elementary education, and I am a Young Life leader. Young Life is a place for high school students to come and hang out on Monday nights at 7:37. And they just come, hang out and laugh at the leaders. We do a lot of really funny skits and really funny, messy games. Pretty much things just to get the kids having a good time, comfortable and relaxed, in hopes to develop relationships with them.
In addition to weekly meetings, Young Life has other opportunities for high school students of Nacogdoches.
We have it all semester, and then we're gonna go to summer camp in Colorado, and that is going to be pretty much everything the kids experience all semester in 1 week. And it's really extreme, and it's advertised as the best week of your life, and it's not a lie. It really is the best week of your life. I went in high school. It changed me for the better and brought me where I am today.
For more information on Young Life, call 817-944-5823. This is Kaylee Masters reporting for SFA Now. Designated as a National Historic Trail in 2004, El Camino Real de los Tejas has existed for more than 300 years. Take a look.
Nacogdoches is not only known as the oldest town in Texas, but also as the Gateway. As the early pioneers forged westward, this town was their last contact with civilization. It was literally the gateway to Texas and to the vast unsettled Southwest beyond. The trail they used to get there was known as the El Camino Real. These days, citizens of Nacogdoches and travelers just know it as Highway 21. The El Camino Real, which begins in Natchitoches, Louisiana and runs all the way to Guerrero, Mexico, has major stops in San Augustine, Nacogdoches, Alto, New Braunfels, and San Antonio. The Spaniards and French who paved the way and marked this trail opened up a passageway for Texas legends Moses Austin and his son Stephen Fuller Austin, also known as the Father of Texas. The El Camino Real has been here for over 300 years and has an abundance of historical sites along the way. For more information on the El Camino Real, stop by the Nacogdoches Visitor Center or visit www.elcaminorealtx.com.
Stay tuned after the break when we sit down with the Vice President of the Judo Club and talk about what goes on inside their program. Remember to like our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/SFA Now.
If you have any stories that you would like to see here, post it on our wall and maybe you'll see it soon.
Welcome back to SFA Now. I'm sitting here with the Vice President of the SFA Judo Club, Michael Boucher. So tell me, Michael, what is judo?
Judo is a martial art that was developed like in the mid-1800s in Japan out of the same martial art that gave us jiu-jitsu. And it's a very pacifistic martial art. The name literally means the gentle path or the gentle way. And it, instead of striking, punching, kicking, what have you, we tend to use things like grappling, takedowns, throws, things that instead of injuring an opponent, simply redirect them in a direction that is away from us. Say if someone is like going to try and strike you, we would deflect the arm and then remove a foot out from under them, and they get redirected to the ground, and they are neutralized as a threat, but they're not normally injured. It's a very peaceful, pacifistic art.
All right. And what are some of the principles of judo?
One of them is do no injury unless it is absolutely necessary, which it almost never is, especially in tournament. Another is you never strike an opponent. That's something that will get you disqualified. We don't have like a firm set of principles. It's more a set of techniques that we use and a set of techniques we avoid.
Right. All right. So what must every beginner learn about judo?
The first thing, the first two things that every beginner must learn. The first is how to fall without being hurt, because that's something you will do a lot, because almost everything we do while standing involves another person falling. So you need to learn to fall without hurting yourself, whether falling backwards, falling onto your side, falling onto your face, or rolling. The second thing is something called kuzushi. It literally means off balance. The idea of it is if an opponent is moving, you force them to move farther than they meant to, put all of their weight onto about a square inch of space, and at that moment, they weigh nothing. And it takes no force to make them do whatever you can do given their direction, momentum, what have you. And that moment is the basis of almost every throw in judo, kuzushi. Those are the two things that every beginner needs to know. And from there, you learn a few basic throws, things like leg sweeps or a few hand throws, which a hand throw is just you pull with your hand, push with another hand, and that directs their momentum, or removing a leg and forcing them into a position where they can no longer stand up.
Okay. And so how did the SFA Judo Club happen to get started?
We've actually had two different judo clubs from what I understand. We had one way back in the day, like in the early 90s or so, but that faded almost out of existence entirely. And in, I think, the early 2000s, mid-2000s, our current sensei, Mike Rigsby, came to SFA and began teaching the club here on campus. And since then, we've grown. We've had our high points and low points, but right now we are definitely growing.
Okay.
And that was almost entirely because of the sports clubs and from Sensei Mike. And that's how our club kind of got started. Was he came onto campus willing to teach, and there were students here willing to learn, and that's kind of how it's continued.
All right. And is the class available to the community, or is it just SFA students?
Just SFA students. It is an SFA sports club, which means it is managed by campus recreation. It is for SFA students. We do have dues, but it's really pretty inexpensive.
Okay.
It's only for SFA students, and we have our coaches.
All right. And does the judo team here at SFA go to competitions and compete against other clubs?
Yes, we do. Tournaments in judo are very similar to most martial arts tournaments. You go, you sign in, you have your weigh-in, and then there's the competition brackets for different weight classes and skill brackets. And we have competed. We actually have competed more this year than we ever have in the past, and we've been relatively successful. We brought home several medals. We've had at least one person get gold. We've had several silvers and bronzes from these tournaments. And we do compete against other clubs. And we've faced off against people from UT. We've gone to A&M, the Go Shibata tournament. We've gone to a couple of the tournaments in Houston and Conroe. We also volunteered a lot of tournaments as technical officials, which is another good way to observe tournaments, because in those tournaments you see a lot of what judo looks like. Right. And that's another good way to learn, is to observe these tournaments.
All right. And can you explain briefly about the competitions?
I already covered most of it, but the competitions, the matches themselves are actually relatively short. They have a limit of around 3 minutes.
All right.
And in those matches, and there can be 150 matches, 200 matches in a tournament on different mats. And during a match...
all right. Thank you for coming on our show, Michael. That does it for our show today. Remember to like our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/SFA Now. I'm Alex Blooney, and thank you for watching SFA Now. And until next time, next session.